the whole thing was set up in such a way that Gwyneth thought she was going to be able to one-up Meghan again, and Meghan thought, okay, fine, I'm going to walk into this trap, and I'm going to show, and I think that she has shown disdain, and that has actually sort of, in a funny sort of way, trumped Gwyneth, and also Gwyneth has trumped herself by being so silly as to invite Meghan into her house to show that she is fine about Meghan. I mean, the whole thing is, it's really mean girls' games.
Lady Colin Campbell, Gwyneth Paltrow has just been Markled, and the Kardashians have too, because she's ripping off her apparent Hollywood BFFs with her new As Ever jam. We'll come to that in just a moment. But firstly, can you believe that Gwyneth was so stupid? I mean, look at the way people are turning against her. When I would say we got the honest Gwyneth in the Vanity Fair interview. What are you hearing? Did she come under some sort of pressure from Ari Emanuel? Why did she all of a sudden decide that everything she said in Vanity Fair wasn't true?
Well, you know, Gwyneth Paltrow is a very shrewd game player. And I think, if you remember the way he dealt with that man into whom she skied. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I do. The famous court case.
Yeah, and then it was all his fault. And I think she tried to flip this so that she would one-up Meghan. But Meghan was clever in the way she did it, because, for instance, keeping her foot on the chair is a sign of such disdain. I mean, you do not eat like this with your foot on the chair as you eat from the table. Your leg on the chair, I should say. You know, her foot was on the chair and her leg was above the table. I mean, that is as supreme a sign of disdain as it is possible to have. And I think Gwyneth thought that she was going to pull the rabbit out of the hat. And Meghan, very cleverly, and because Meghan is the past mistress of disdain, Gwyneth has always thought she was the past mistress of put down. But there's a difference between put down and disdain. And I think, quite frankly, the both of them are equally well matched. And as far as I'm concerned, they're both equally dreadful.
Well, I feel that now too. What is hilarious, though, Lady C, is seeing the British mainstream media try and play Gwyneth and Meghan's games, even though they know that it's a complete ludicrous PR stunt, even though they know that there's no way that anyone wants to call Meghan Sussex. Here's your old mate, Lorraine Kelly. Watch.
Gwyneth Paltrow and Meghan Sussex have addressed. They might sort of get together and do another Netflixy thing.
Why not? There's a lot of love for the first series of Meghan's with Love, and potentially Gwyneth Paltrow. She lives in Montecito as well.
It's another world.
Could potentially be a
who knows?
A guest.
Who knows? It's all very strange. Good luck to them. Look, if you want to watch. If you don't. That's what I always say to people. That's for sure. Now, look, a few sore heads.
I mean, a lot of love, Lady C. They are literally lying to us. There was no love, even from the hard left mainstream media.
No. In fact, the hard left was actually even worse than the centrist and right-wing press about Meghan's show. It's, you know, Dan, you know what it's like. These people have their shtick and they're going to stick to it, you know? Or to put it another way, they beat their drum, irrespective of reality. I mean, Lorraine Kelly saying that there's a lot of love is like Narinder Kaur saying that everybody loves Meghan and everybody thought the show was wonderful and nobody thought she was boring. Oh.
We see through it. We well and truly see through it. But bad news, Gwyneth. You've lost a lot of fans. You were telling the truth in Vanity Fair. I think there was some type of pressure probably exerted via WME, via Ari Emanuel. And the thing is, can we just give credit here, Lady C, to Martha Stewart, who has held firm, who has revealed quite publicly that Meghan ripped off her one pot pasta video and says, mine was the original and the best. And I don't think we're going to be seeing any little Instagram meetings with Martha Stewart and Meghan Markle, are we?
I would doubt that very much. But I think Gwyneth Paltrow was trying to outmaneuver. I think she was trying to mock Meghan initially and succeeding brilliantly. And then she thought that she would actually be able to get more mileage out of it. I actually do not think, Dan, I hate to disagree with you, but I do not think that Ari Emanuel is behind this. My understanding is that Ari Emanuel has distanced himself pretty considerably from Meghan.
True.
And I mean, look at where her leg is. Can you imagine? She's sitting at the table and her leg is up there and she's then eating. I mean, what about disdain? But I think that she understood that she was supposedly walking into a trap, and she being Meghan, and she decided that she was going to outmaneuver Gwyneth, and I think she has succeeded.
How depressing.
But I really do think that it's lower down than the Ari Emanuel level. And I really do actually think, because I know somebody who knows Gwyneth Paltrow quite well, and they say that she is obsessed with always being number one and always being in control. She is as narcissistic, evidently, as Meghan is, but she's more superficially pleasant than Meghan is. But she evidently will have bitterly resented the fact that Meghan was trespassing on her territory. And she really thought that she would be able to do to Meghan what she did to that guy who skied into her. Because remember, she prevailed where that was concerned. And I think the whole thing was set up in such a way that Gwyneth thought she was going to be able to one-up Meghan again, and Meghan thought, okay, fine, I'm going to walk into this trap, and I'm going to show, and I think that she has shown disdain, and that has actually sort of, in a funny sort of way, trumped Gwyneth, and also Gwyneth has trumped herself by being so silly as to invite Meghan into her house to show that she is fine about Meghan. I mean, the whole thing is, it's really mean girls' games. These women are in their 40s and 50s. They're not supposed to be playing stupid games like this. They should have more dignity.
Exactly. Grow up. Now, we have had today, Lady C, Meghan's as ever launch on Instagram. Watch this. I mean, oh my goodness, it's so cringe. Firstly, the jam looks absolutely revolting. Secondly, the packaging looks cheap and tacky and is a rip-off of the Kardashians, which I'll come to very shortly. Thirdly, that poor boy having to pretend that the as ever raspberry spread is what he likes as his midnight snack. Yeah, right, I would say to that. And as Harry's Meghan Spare wrote, Meghan, it's just jam. It doesn't require an entire presentation. This packaging is as pretentious as she is. And we can have a look at that packaging, Lady C. And Nancy Sidley has been doing some excellent work on this from the States and says that Meghan Markle is once again copying a Kardashian by stealing Kim's packaging aesthetic. Meghan Markle is a copycat. And I guess we know that by now, don't we? There's nothing original from this woman. There never has been, there never will be.
No, there isn't. And I have to say, I gather that the Sidley girls are doing a wonderful job.
Oh, they are.
So,
They're doing great stuff at the moment,
I
actually.
mean, jam is jam. Whoever heard of packaging jam as if it's an 85-pound night cream? It's ludicrous. And I mean, as for her cursive writing, which is supposed to be calligraphy and isn't, it's the woman is so tasteless and pretentious. I mean, she makes brass look like gold.
It's just awful, isn't it? It is just absolutely awful. And all of the pictures that we've seen on her Instagram grid over the past week also look terrible. She's now promoting one of her friends on Instagram, the Royal News Network. Brittany says this Instagram strategy is so chaotic, so unfocused. And then, Lady C, we come to the affiliate link, the lowest of the low, the type of thing that a Z-list celebrity does when they can't get any actual brand deals. Can you believe that she's now proudly displaying her Shop My link on her Instagram page?
I can believe anything that Meghan Markle does. I can believe absolutely anything she does. I think the woman is unbelievably crass, and she is, and when you stop to think that she was actually exposed to really the elite from she was a little girl, because her kindergarten was an elitist kindergarten. Her school was an elitist school, and her university was an elitist university. And when you stop to consider the exposure that she's had to people who of refinement, breeding, culture, and civility, and then you see the way she behaves, she is like somebody who is a starving creature who has been released into the banquet of life and is just gorging, stuffing her mouth constantly. I mean, it is a display of not only supremely distasteful greed and need, but of such lack of taste. It staggers the imagination, I think. And I mean, when you stop to think, her sister, whom she has done so much to damage, her sister is far more elegant and far more erudite and has far better taste and far more discerning than Meghan is. And Samantha didn't have the benefit of the fine education and the exposure to the elite from childhood, the way, in fact, Meghan did. So I think it's a matter of throwing pearls to swine. They crush them underfoot. And Meghan rarely has pearls thrown to her, and she's a swine and she crushes them underfoot. I think it's as simple as that.
But first, you know I never recommend anything here unless I truly believe in it, and today I've got something absolutely game-changing for you. Have you ever stopped to think about how crucial comfort is, especially down there? Well, let me tell you, today's Outspoken is proudly sponsored by Sheath Underwear, the revolutionary brand shaking up men's comfort across the globe. And here's what makes it even better. Sheath was founded by a US Army veteran, Robert Patton, a hero, while he was serving in Iraq back in 2007. So that's right, this isn't just any underwear brand. It was designed for the toughest conditions imaginable. Patton was battling relentless heat and discomfort in full combat gear, and he thought there has to be a better way, so he created it. And let's be honest, traditional underwear just doesn't cut it anymore. Sheath's innovative dual pouch design ensures your comfort all day long, keeping things separate, cool and fresh. Imagine your essentials being comfortably cradled away from the unwanted friction and heat. Trust me, this is genuinely transformative. I've personally tested these at the gym, on long days at work, even just relaxing at home, and I'm telling you, once you've experienced Sheath, there is simply no turning back to any other underwear brand. They're stylish, they're supported, and they delivered unmatched comfort. It's like upgrading from economy to first class, but for your underwear. And right now, I'm offering you an exclusive 20% discount at sheath.com. Yes, that is 20% off your entire order when you use my special promo code Outspoken at checkout. So what are you waiting for? Sheath, by the way, the perfect present for your husband, your boyfriend, your son, your brother, or hard to buy for best mates. And ladies, the good news is there are female versions too. By the way, Sheath is the first official underwear of the UFC, which I thought you'd like to know too, because it is pretty damn cool. So click the link below, enter Outspoken at checkout, and thank me later when you're feeling comfortable, confident, and ready to tackle anything your day throws at you. Sheath underwear, redefining comfort one pair at a time. But now, back to the show. It is as simple as that. Now, Lady Colin Campbell want to show you two of the British newspaper front pages today because they really show the contrast that our two princes are dealing with. So first, you have the Daily Mail and Richard Kay with an absolutely brutal piece about what is going on with Prince Harry's charity race scandal. In comparison, Prince William doing exactly what a royal should do, raising the awareness of the plight of farmers at the moment at Clarkson's farm without, it should be said, being blatantly political, which, as you know, is always a very fine line. Harry sent up the Sentebele charity, Lady C, in 2006, and it was a tribute to his late mother, Princess Diana. Now, as you know, because I know you've been doing a lot of work on this, the chairman, Sophie Chandoku, has gone totally rogue. And I think Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have met their match here. Remember, Lady C, this was the woman, of course, who Meghan tried to put in her place during the Sentebele polo event. And I think we've got that video, actually. Let's listen.
It's a great day here at Colin Campbell. Again, a big thank you to all those who provided horses.
So you've been doing fascinating reporting on this, Lady C, over the past 48 hours. What is really going on here?
Well, Dan, I am not sure that I need to be careful because I have a feeling you've met one of the people at my place who I've been speaking to, who is actually a Zimbabwean.
My lips are sealed. My lips are sealed. Don't worry.
And then a very close relation of mine, one of his closest friends, is a member of the Mugabe family.
Oh, wow.
And what's really interesting about all of this is what I'm being told in terms of the Zimbabwe connection, which is really the important connection, is that this is a very well-educated woman who is bitterly resentful of the way Meghan shamed her in front of the world, and that she didn't say a word at the time, but she set out to do a Meghan on Meghan, because she, and there are all sorts of colour issues that kick in with this. And I understand a lot of them being Jamaican, and also the fact that Africans actually look down on West Indian and American blacks because, first of all, they're not African. Secondly, they usually have some mixed blood. And that is, in many African traditions, something to disdain, mixed blood. So Meghan will have thought, as many Americans and West Indians think because they're mixed race, they are going to be able to play the I'm better than you card to black people. But when they do it with black Africans, it doesn't work, because the black Africans think, excuse me, I'm better than you. I'm purely race. You're mixed race. So there's that element that's going on. And then, of course, Meghan has, this Sophie lady will know all about the disdain that mixed race people have for purely black people, and that Meghan has passed for white for most of her life. Her mother married a white man, and there's a whole tradition in certain black societies for improving your color by producing fairer skinned progenies via white men. And Meghan has done the same thing. So there's all of that going on that may not be so apparent to people who are not familiar with either the West Indian, the American, or the African color issues, let's put it that way. And of course, this, and let's call her Sophie because it's easier. Sophie is very well educated, but she, to be that well educated, will, I am assured, have had to have come out of the Mugabe camp. Very interesting. Nobody has sussed that yet, but she has to have come out of the Mugabe camp. If she had not been somehow an affiliate of the Mugabe camp, which is extremely racist, there is no way that she would have ended up being promoted to the extent that she was promoted and educated. This is something that has eluded everybody so far. Also, what will elude people generally is because Robert Mugabe is dead, they think the Mugabes have no influence. In fact, I have been told, and other people have been told by people closely connected to the Mugabe regime, that it still has a tremendous amount of influence. And Grace Mugabe is the African Obama, you know, where Obama was supposed to be running the White House instead of Biden. Well, Grace evidently is the one who she was not allowed for political reasons to run, but she runs things behind the scenes. So it was an act of folly in the first place, if you bear all of this in mind, to have ever appointed somebody who is Zimbabwean, whose tradition and links will go straight back to the Mugabes, and who is from a culture that is very quickly off the mark if they think that you are looking down on them, which of course is precisely what Meghan did publicly to Sophie. So that's the first mistake they made. The second mistake Meghan made was to humiliate and embarrass Sophie in front of the world and directing her. And I mean, I can't use the language that I have been told to describe it, but it's all very racially connected and brown, white, black, blah, blah, blah. And you can use your imagination and figure out what was being said. And because there are certain things we can't say publicly. And she was absolutely furious, and she clearly decided she was going to get her own back, and she has got her own back. And also she has seized control of the assets of the charity, and that's something else again. And she has also sued the charity, even though she is the chairman of the board. So, and because what has triggered Harry and Prince CISO's resignation is the fact that she has sued the charity, and she has made all sorts of accusations about racism, and wait for it, it's going to be classism as well, because the other trustee is the younger brother of the present king of Lesotho. So you're going to have class, you're going to have color, you're going to have accusations of financial mismanagement. There's already financials of racism, and of racism against her as a Black woman.
And the thing is, Lady C, the statement, I think, is just worth me reading just the key part of it, and then I'll let you go on. But this is what Sophie said in her damning statement, clearly in reference to Prince Harry. There are people in this world who behave as though they are above the law and mistreat people, and then play the victim card and use the very press they disdain to harm people who have the courage to challenge their conduct. Beneath all of the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to the press is a story of a woman, me, who dared to blow the whistle about issues of poor governance, weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny, misogynoir, and the cover-up that ensued. Mic drop. Whoa.
But it's not only Meghan Harry that she's aiming that at, Dan. It's Meghan.
Mm-hmm. Good
she's
point.
Aiming it at Meghan. It's not only Harry, but she has to aim it at Harry to reach Meghan. But it is quite possible that none of this would have happened had in fact, it's not possible. It's very likely that none of this would have happened had Meghan not humiliated her the way she did in front of the world. That's what I'm told, and I believe it. And once that happened, she set about seizing control of everything. And had she was allowed to transfer the financial operations from England to Lesotho. Well, by doing that, she then has absolute control over the money. And I would hate to cast aspersions in her direction. Let me put it that way. But the fact of the matter is, had she not had it in for humiliating Harry and Meghan as a result of the way she feels she was mistreated by them. And remember, she will have understood that Harry should not have allowed his wife to behave like that, because that's the African take on things. It may not be the American or the English take on things, where, you know, women are really nowadays the dominating factor in many relationships. But in Africa, men are still expected to keep their wives in line. So she will have used that attitude as well to go after both Harry and Meghan. And I can guarantee, had that incident at Polo in Wellington not taken place, the transfer would have happened. Nobody would have said anything. Everything would have continued as it was. And she would have had greater control of the money. She would have been able to use it for her purposes and those that she will deem to be fit or more fit than what they have been doing. And they would have continued having access to some of the privileges and the platform and the supposedly good works that they have been doing for years. And everybody would have been happy. But Meghan made the fatal error of humiliating a proud black woman in front of the world. And I'm assured by my Zimbabwean friend that black women, not only in Zimbabwe, but generally in Africa, have a very long memories, and they never forgive a slight or an insult. And they are often very dignified about it when it happens. They act as if it's not happening, but then they go home and they plot and scheme and find a way to trip up the person who has humiliated them. And I think it's as simple as that. And all of this has great resonance where I'm concerned, because being a West Indian, I see an awful lot of it happening in Jamaica and in the West Indies as well, generally. And I'll tell you, it doesn't only happen in the black culture, it happens in the brown and the white culture as well. Because remember, all white Jamaicans are brought up by black nannies. So we have a lot of black habits and practices and attitudes as well. So people who think, oh, just because your skin is white, I mean, that's why, for instance, we can dance as well as black people, because irrespective of the color of our skin, we are from birth immersed in the black life. So I hope that all makes sense to you.
Absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.